Okay, I think we're just about ready. Alright, today we are going to be going over some technical analysis. Obviously a lot of people are uncertain in the market at the moment, but what we're going to do is we're going to try and help give an idea of what's going on, where the world is heading, what we need to look out for, as well as why we are in the situation that we are currently in. So yeah, essentially let's jump straight into it. So I'm going to go on the desktop. Actually, 1 second. There we go. Alright, boom. Okay. So at the minute, a lot of people are uncertain with where Bitcoin is going. We're going to take a look at a few things, and hopefully, yeah, we will be able to give people a better idea of what is currently going on. Essentially, why what happened, and yeah. So. Okay, so essentially at the moment, what I have marked out here is a daily up here, touch from there. Could be classed as an irrelevant level now, and you would put it up there, but for a minute we're going to keep it there. As you can see here, we're down here at the bottom at 29,000. As well, we've got this very, very important weekly level. Okay, so what happened over the past 24 hours, essentially, we've been ranging. Okay, as you can see, we came up to the daily level. This daily level at the top formed a new daily, so it would essentially be up here, and then we come back down. Okay, now what we want to see from Bitcoin is we want to see it push above this daily, come up again. That's what we want to see, for it to be in a bullish perspective. And then we have other levels, etc., that we would be looking for on the way down. If I just show you this quickly as well, this is another chart that I have to do with Bitcoin. Okay, as you can see on a daily perspective, we'll put this one up here just to make it at least one of them accurate. We have different levels and different charts, just so we get an idea of the sort of things that we're looking for. So if we go on the hourly, okay, as you can see, this is the sort of range that I personally think we have formed at the moment. It comes in with nice confluence with the 31,700 level. That's a very, very important level in my opinion. As you can see with this range, the wick at the bottom, okay, in my opinion it is a respected channel, because it has resistance, support, as well as support. So in my opinion it is a respected channel. The only thing, what does that look like? Does that look any better? No. In a way it kind of does. But again, this is a sort of channel that I'm kind of looking at the moment. This being the midpoint, bottom of the channel, top of the channel, in confluence with a daily and a weekly. That 32, this key level here, this is the previous COVID low. So this is again another important level, and again we have monthly. But at least for now, what we really do want to see, okay, is a big push up. Respect that daily again, but come above it, come above the weekly, back test it, and then we can look for that key level. Okay, maybe the first time we come up to that level we might reject a little bit and then come back up. That's the sort of stuff we want to see, dream scenario for Bitcoin. Okay, hello J-Mid, hope you're doing good, my friend. What we also want to see towards the downside, if we are heading in a downward direction. Okay, I've got weird. What is it on this one? It doesn't matter because we could just put it here anyway. Okay. So we've got, in my opinion, we've got an old daily around this area, which is the 26,000 area. So we'll mark this one out. I think I've already got it marked out, but it doesn't matter anyway. That's the wrong one. Arsenal Champions League winners 2001. Yeah, and as you can see, we've got a daily here, those two there. So on the way down, this is where we'll be looking as well. Also, there was, if we do want a fresh chart, I just want to show you this. This is something that I've been looking at for a while, and it's proven to be pretty respected at the moment, and that's what I really like about it. So with a simple Fibonacci, we go from the March lows to the all-time high. Okay, and what have we got? This is the golden pocket. As you can see, what you're looking for is it respected. So as you can see here, touch there, touch there, touch there. As you can see, it is clearly a respected area. At the moment, okay, it's perfect. This is proven to be a very respected level because yes, we did wick below it, but it depends on where it closes. And as you can see, we closed above that area. Same again. And now we've came down to that level. As you can see, it's now showing signs of support, as you can see with that wick there. So it's a small progress, at least it's a good sign to see. That's the main thing. So yeah, that's at least we have about 10 steps before we're in a very bullish round, but for a minute. Yeah, there's still a long way to go, that especially with that weekly level there. That is a very important weekly area. Oh, thank you, Jay. Appreciate that, mate. Absolute legend. Thank you, my friend. Yeah, as you can see, this is very respected. If obviously we fall towards the downside, I'm looking for levels at the 26k area as well as the 23k area. The last level of support, in my opinion, for Bitcoin is 21,000. We've never fell below previous all-time highs, so if that does happen, that will be incredibly bad for Bitcoin. But it depends what the rest of the world's looking like. And if we take a quick look at the S&P 500, so where's the irrelevant one? We'll get rid of that one. So as you can see at the moment, this is the COVID low, and this is the key area essentially that we have got to break above. As you can see, it's essentially similar to what Bitcoin's doing. It's ranging between two levels. So for the next, I don't know, couple weeks maybe, potentially we could see something like this, where we go like that, come back to. It could be something like that, where we just range for a little bit, and then we go back up, come back down. And then obviously if that happens, then Bitcoin will follow suit. But yeah, it does all depend on where stuff like the S&P 500. If we take a look at the Dow Jones, as you can see again, very similar. There's two levels of confluence here, and it's pretty much just essentially dancing in between these two levels. Is there an old daily anywhere? there. No, that's not an old daily. But as you can see at the moment, it's essentially in range bound, and this is the key level, I presume, for the Dow. S&P 500, this is the key, currently ranging. And obviously, as you can see with Bitcoin, there's too many levels on that one. As you can see with Bitcoin, essentially, we are ranging. And until that S&P 500 breaks, then yeah, that's essentially what we're waiting for with Bitcoin. We're waiting for Bitcoin to push above this level. Let's take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum, very similar. It obviously does show some very interesting signs again. We'll delete this. Simple Fibonacci. Mr. Footdonk, I do appreciate it, my man. Thank you so much. Thank you, mate. I do appreciate that. You don't have to do that though, mate. I do appreciate it. Thank you, mate. Yeah, as you can see with Ethereum, very similar. Fibonacci from all COVID lows to the all-time high. Again, similar to Bitcoin. Touched the golden pocket, closed above it. Now we're starting to try and push above it, but we're potentially coming back down as a support. As you can see there, it was resistant. If we get to above here, it will be resistance, but again, a similar case, isn't it? Very similar to Bitcoin, and that's just a simple Fibonacci pull from COVID lows to all-time high. Obviously, a lot of people didn't expect. Obviously, a lot of people didn't expect this to happen with the bear market, etc. But there were quite a lot of good signs. This is probably one of the biggest ones in my opinion. Is it a big deal that 40% of USD was printed in the last 12 months? No, it's not. Clearly, clearly this was wrong. I just wanted to find an example. But clearly this article was wrong, and it was something to be incredibly concerned about. It's basic supply and demand. You cannot add more of something into the world. And expect it to stay stable. It's the same with anything. If you add anything that's at value, if they printed more Bitcoin, Bitcoin would instantly go down in value. That's why there's only ever 21 million, 18 million if you include the 5 million loss, or however many it is. I can't remember off by heart. But yeah, you can add that amount of stuff to circulation and expect something positive to happen from it. And this is essentially why we're seeing inflation as high as we are. I mean, look at Turkey, 69.97%, absolutely crazy. Russia, 17.8%. Netherlands, 9.6% reported in April. Poland, 12.4%. Romania, 13.76%. Spain, 8.3% reported in April. Netherlands, 9.6% reported in April. Greece, 10.2% April. Germany, 7.4% April. UK, where's UK? Iceland, 7.2%. Montenegro, 9.7%. United Kingdom, 7%, and that was reported in March. France was fairly low, but a lot of countries are up, and that's the crazy thing about it. Jay, stop it please, mate. I do really appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot, mate, but what you like, eh? But yeah, this is exactly the reason why we're seeing inflation so high, is purely because of the excessive amount of printing, and we're still printing today. printing to Ukraine, etc. The amount of money that's being printed is absolutely crazy. So yeah, it is something to actually be concerned about. A lot of people did, just like this article, no, it's not. A lot of people wiped it off like it was not a big deal, but yeah, it's one of the, it's a catastrophe. You have to see something bad happen, in my opinion. If I go on Twitter quickly, in my Discord, even though I've been away for a while, I have been quite active in my Discord, and I try to be as active as I can on Twitter. But for example, as you can see here, what I was saying about 2022, it just, there were so many signs that it wasn't going to be a good year, essentially. We had Evergrande. That was a good sign. Well, not a good sign. It was a big sign that it wasn't going to be exactly a very good year. Evergrande, one of the biggest real estate giants in China, sorry, going bankrupt. Absolutely ridiculous. It's very similar to the Lehman Brothers in 2008, except it's now China instead of America. What's your 6 month Bitcoin price estimation? Honestly, for the next 6 months, I think it would be healthy for the market if we're essentially ranged. Possibly, let me show you. So at least do it on the 4 hour. So I think maybe something a bit like this will range. Maybe up until May, come above, push, maybe come up to the monthly. That 39k, this 39k area has a lot of confluence. So for all we know, we could come up to here by next month, for example, or 2 months, or we could just stay in a range bound. But that is a level that I will at least be looking for a rejection, because there is a lot of things to go. But again, as I said, it depends on the S&P 500. If we can at least break this level, then we can start to push walls up here, etc. So that's what you want to see. Maybe in 6 months' time, if the exact bottom is the 26,000k area, then if we're going based off the 4-year cycle, which I still think could have some light to it, if we're going based off that, then yeah, it does show that this year will just essentially be a crash year, a quiet crash year. Next year it would be the bottom essentially, or a restart, and then the Bitcoin halving happens in 2024. So obviously anything can happen, but yeah. What do you think Bitcoin does in the next few hours? Honestly, if you take a look at this, this is essentially the range that I think we've been following for a little bit. As you can see, this is the midpoint of the range, top of the range being in confluence with the weekly and the daily, and this being the bottom part of the range. So honestly, for the next few hours, I generally think we'll just we may come up to here for a push up on the daily, but honestly, I think we'll just essentially do something like this, if anything. Maybe something like that, or come to a midpoint like we have here, for example. Come to a midpoint as a bounce, then go back up. I generally think we'll go sideways for a little bit, and obviously, if it, as we all know, with the S&P 500 and etc. being correlated with crypto now, as you can see here, we are essentially in a very similar range. Let's go on the 4 hour. As you can see, this is the old COVID lows, and this is an old daily, I'm pretty sure. So as you can see at the moment, all we're doing is just going sideways, and we're showing so much respect towards this level at the moment. So what we yeah, again, what we'll probably end up doing, respecting that until we break. Once we break that level, we want to bounce off it, and then boom, we can start to look for higher levels. This is the S&P 500, so obviously if that ends up happening, then Bitcoin can look for a push at least higher than this weekly, because if we break that weekly, that's at least a very important step to start with, and then we have monthlies and etc. to go towards as well, which for the first test up, I will let's say the, you know, this is best case scenario, we go down like that and then this comes, I will at least, because this a monthly is a very, very strong level, I do at least expect will come down at least on the first test of that level. We may come we may blast right through it, but because it's a monthly, it's a stronger level than the daily and the weekly, for example. And obviously you're seeing how respected the dailies are at the moment, so you know, you would expect that the monthly would be even more respected than a daily, because it's a higher time frame. As well, what I want to show you, because it's also very, very important. Again, with this simple Fibonacci pull, okay. So as you can see on our, oh my bad, as you can see on the hour, very, very respected. Gold on the golden pocket. On a higher time frame. Obviously, the higher the time frame, the better it is. Essentially, the more positivity it shows. As you can see, this is the daily. Respect, 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 respect. Again here, zoom in. Wicks down, closes above on the daily, and now it's coming down as support, which is, again, it's not an amazing sign, but it's showing that it's a very, very respected level at least. Yeah, and that's what you want to see. And then if we go, and this is why it was important the other day. As you can see on the weekly, Bitcoin closed above the golden pocket. As you can see, we wicked all the way down, but the close is the important part. As you can see, we closed there, and now we're coming back down as support. If it stays as support, then we can look potentially to go upwards. As well, like with Cardano, for example, this is why there's just so much money to be made in this market at the moment. Cardano, for example, pretty much exact same boat. Ranging, as you can see, probably come up, come down. Just ranging at the moment. That's all that's happening. Cardano is ranging, but just off these, you know, daily simple levels. You know, is there even, no, there's not. There's no old daily. Is there an old weekly? No, there's no old weekly. Is there an old monthly? No, there's no old monthly. So if Bitcoin can break above these levels, and this is why there is so much opportunity in this market, especially when there's so much fear. It's obviously understandable when people have lost like 60 to 80% of their wealth, which is understandable. It's some people are just looking to break even at this point so they can get out. It's understandable, but this, you know, crypto's no joke. It's a serious game, and I've been in this market 5 years, and I think I'm not an expert, obviously, but I just feel like I understand it. Because when everyone's bullish, it will instantly flip the other way. Yeah. So as you can see with ADA, for example, range bound. Essentially, this is the top, this is the bottom as a hypothetical. But look at the amount of room to grow that you could possibly have. From 62 cents to 90 cents, because there's not a lot of crazy levels. That's the crazy thing. There's a 43% growth, and this will put, in my opinion, this will probably put Bitcoin in the area of 35,000, maybe 39,000. But you have to think of the, you know, 43%. That's a good amount of money. Same with Polkadot. Similar sort of scenario. Similar sort of scenario, as you can see with Polkadot. Okay. As you can see, Okay, this weekly, similar to Bitcoin. Remember, Bitcoin's got an important weekly level that it's got to break at 31,700. As you can see here, Polkadot's got a very similar level. I mean, just look at as you can see here down the bottom, once we reclaimed that weekly level, look at the growth, 28%. Obviously we've come back down, but obviously Bitcoin's correlated with stocks, and altcoins are correlated with Bitcoin and Ethereum. So, you know, you have to look at all of these little things to get a little idea. You know, if you're wondering where altcoins are going, if they're going to have a random bull run, the chances are no, if you're looking at probabilities, because it all depends on what Bitcoin's doing. And if Bitcoin's not looking bullish and we're still range bound, then again, it depends what the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones is doing, because then it all depends. So yeah, it's definitely something to keep an eye out for, at least. So as you can see with Polkadot, just a quick example, if it breaks this important weekly, similar to Bitcoin, look at the growth, that's another 30% growth before it has any major sign of possible resistance, which is just crazy. And obviously if you're looking from a trading perspective, which obviously you should always, you know, learn that yourself, and learn it from some of the best people out there if you can. You know, 30% is a good amount of money. If you're trading with essentially 1,000 or a couple thousand, you know, that could be some serious gains. And then essentially again, you know, even up from that level to level, 72%. And that doesn't seem that far away for a cryptocurrency like Polkadot, considering it was at $50 and it's been when you've had Chainlink and Polkadot neck and neck for a while at a race, Polkadot ended up just leading the way essentially. And that's the crazy thing, because if they can do these sort of things, again, break these key levels and there is a lot of room for growth. But again, on the downside, because we can't be constantly bullish, because being constantly bullish is what gets people wrecked. You know, for coins like Ethereum, for example, because they are very, very important, you know, if we lose this golden pocket, okay, then we will be looking at down these areas, 13,500. Essentially, there are some very, very important levels, and this is why, obviously, understandably, a lot of people are in fear in the market at the moment, because if it goes lower, then people are just going to get absolutely wrecked, and that's the sad thing to see. And we don't want that to happen, obviously. But with crisis becomes opportunity. So for me personally, I sold pretty much all of my cryptocurrency. When was it? November. I sold it pretty much because November. Obviously, everybody, including myself, thought it was going to 100k in December, and December came about. November came about, and it just wasn't looking strong enough. It was not looking strong enough at all. Had way too much growth to do in such a short in a month's time, and it just didn't look realistic. And then December came about, and obviously it started bad. So it just, the signs were all there, and then when pointing everything with the Evergrande crisis, excessive amount of printing, and considering after they printed that amount of money, we had nothing but a stock bull run, and we had a crypto bull run, because Bitcoin ended up going from essentially 3k to 64k first time round, and then it came back down to the 29k area, 28k area, and then boom, you know, we go back up to 69k before we come back down to where we are today. But you know, we needed to see something happen, and obviously, you know, it's a bad time in the market, but you do need to see something bad happen like this. So to me, it makes sense why this is happening, but a lot of people can't believe it. But yeah, there were a lot of signs pointing towards it not being a very positive year, and it's sad. It is sad to see, because I do wish I did. I do wish I stuck around with YouTube, but I did fall into the YouTube trap because I was making it my full-time job, and then I was essentially earning less than $200 a month, and I don't think anybody can live off that. So the only thing I regret is not making content, or at least the odd video, or at least like the odd live stream or something, whilst I did have that long break, but as well as my mental state not being in a very good place as well. Stress unbelievable. I hadn't been that stressed in quite a few years, so I had to address that as well. And I thought, you know, I just wish I didn't quit. Not necessarily quit, because I always said I was never going to quit. I was always going to come back. But I just wish I didn't have as long as a break as I did. Because then even if the people who followed my channel at the time, the small community that I had, even if they took my opinion with a pinch of salt, at least they would have been open to the idea that, you know, not everything's going to be bullish, you know, these are the signs that 2022 is going to be a bad year. That's the only thing that I wish I did, because then, if that was the case, then a lot less people would have got wrecked, or they would have had at least a bigger percentage in their Tether portfolio for holdings, for example. And, you know, having 10% of your net worth, or not even your net worth, but having 10% of your investment, how much you've got to invest, you know, in stable coins, all the, you know, the strongest stable coins like Tether and USDC, yeah, having that sort of 10% to even play with in a time like this can be serious. It can make you some serious gains. Odds on another bull run before another crash, and onto the 2024 bull run. Essentially, as I said earlier, I think what will probably happen, it's not probably, but what I think could happen, because we don't want to be over the top hopeful, because, you know, as we've seen, being over the top bullish is what will get people wrecked, and people are still doing it even now. As you know, you see it on Twitter. Some of the biggest influencers out there, it's, you know, they're over hyping it like crazy, and I don't understand why, because you know, you've done it, you've made the success, you're making hundreds of thousands per month or year, for example. Why do you still need to do what you're doing to get more? It's just wrong. But yeah, in other news, what I think will happen is, yeah, as I said earlier, range bound, potential push up, but I will be looking for a possible big rejection off this 30k and 39k area. There's not just a daily there's a lot of other confluence there as well. But if we come up to this, for example, boom, 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 come up, boom, boom, something like that, then I'd expect us to at least, we'd rather come down and test that monthly and hold that monthly, because obviously a monthly is a strong level, or we come back down and start enter this range area again and start going up, down, essentially for the rest of the year. That's something that could happen before we have a next bull run. But there are a lot of things to consider. For me, when it came to cryptocurrency and when I first started, essentially, what happened was when I first got into cryptocurrency, I started investing a couple $100 a month of my wages from work into cryptocurrency. I think the first one I ever bought was something like Tron, yeah, and a couple other cryptocurrencies, and I think it was rather September, or it was September, November, December. It was around about that time when I got in 2017. And I think it might have been December. I think. But that doesn't matter. Either way, I was putting a couple $100 in a month. And yeah, then I got to like $1,000 invested into crypto. So it was obviously like a few months. And then that $1,000 ended up pumping all the way to 5,000. After I made that 5,000, I was thinking, damn, there's a lot of money to be made in this crypto market, because, you know, within the space of a couple of weeks, for example, or a week, I turned 1,000 into 5,000. Then the bear market came, and yeah, I think at that point, that was when I actually, instead of selling it for a loss, because it didn't make sense to sell it for a loss to me, what I essentially thought was a good idea was Oh, it's obviously a good idea anyway, but it was to do proper research, proper study what I was actually investing, and not necessarily just Tron, but the cryptocurrency market. What was Bitcoin and what was it fighting against, etc. And then you start to do digging, and you then understand about inflation. You then start to understand about economics and stuff like how much money they're printing, how they've got an unlimited amount of unlimited amount of money at the press of a printer button. And it's like when I tell people, when I have talks with just random people or my friends, for example, I'll tell them that 40% of all money ever created happened in 2020 to 2021, and hardly anybody knows about that. And it's just crazy because it's so important, to me at least, to understand what our governments are doing to us. And essentially, I have nothing against Ukraine, and I believe in war is a terrible thing, and more war doesn't solve the world's problems. It's just a terrible thing. But as you can see at the minute, pretty much every country is printing for Ukraine, and everyone. That means that they're essentially bankrupting their own country for the sake of another. And there's just so much printing even still happening, and it is just unbelievable. It's simply unbelievable because, again, as we go back to the start of what we were saying, you cannot print that amount of money and just expect things to continue being fine, continue being bullish. They're adding more into something. It's a big worry. It's a red flag. This is definitely a big red flag. If you take a quick look at this, it's pretty much how essentially the world's been doing today. It doesn't actually look like it's been a bad day for the world. But as we saw with the S&P, etc., that we are essentially range bound. So markets will be having a slight pump, for example, to see in a little range bound rather than in a free fall. Canada stocks rise for the second session, so that's essentially a good start at least. Wall Street fails to recover. US equities failed to recover from last week's losses on Monday as prospects of aggressive Fed tightening, the war in Ukraine and COVID-19 lockdowns in China weighting investors move. The Dow closed marginally higher. The S&P 500 fell 0.4% and the Nasdaq. So there's a lot of things to keep an eye out for. Wall Street attempts to rebound 92 minutes ago. Colombia economic activity grows at a slower pace. Yeah, that's not good news. Colombia Q1 GDP growth closed less than expected. Ryanair earnings meet market expectations. Crude oil continues to rise. So in some places we are starting to see reversals, but again, this doesn't mean that it's over. As you can see with Bitcoin, as we talked about before, range bound. S&P 500 range bound between a key level. Once we break either one of these levels and we hold it, that's a good sign that essentially the worst is over. But it's a case of how long will it take. So obviously I'm not a financial expert, but if you're looking to throw your money into the market, I would at least wait for at least the first sign of confirmation, which is at least with me anyway, because I've got cash. This is just what I'm essentially doing, because I sold because I started investing in 2017 and I sold it November 2021. I've got X amount of cash to play with. So now for me, I'm looking to re-enter into the market, and I was tempted to FOMO because these prices are so attractive, but you don't want to catch a falling knife, because if you catch a falling knife, then the percentages of risk go up and up and up. But this is what I'm waiting for, and this is just me, so you don't have to copy me, but this is essentially just what I am doing. I'm waiting for us to break this range and then backtest this level of the weekly and then that's when I'll be looking to get in, at least until the next bull run, wherever that may be. But for me, at least, I'll be waiting for this range to break. So boom, boom. Let's say we do something like that until the end of the month. Come up. See, so this is what we want to see, something like that. And then again, we want to have a back test, but that 39k area is going to be a pain to beat. That is definitely going to be a pain to beat. And I will possibly be looking for a short at that area. I definitely will try to look for a short. Let's look at Matic, for example. I'm just gonna grab a quick drink quick. I'll be 2 seconds. I'll be literally 2 seconds. Right. Just quickly have a look at Matic. Is there anything on the monthly? Did that have any respect to it? Definitely showing resistance. Doesn't matter for now. Okay, so with Matic, it is essentially the exact same case for majority of cryptos. I'm not going to overcomplicate it, to be honest, because it is literally the exact same case for majority of cryptos. But from a trading standpoint, you know, if you're, let's just have a quick look if there's a daily there. Get rid of that one because that one's irrelevant now. I don't think that was a daily, that might have been the fib. But either way, put that there. Even from this case, okay, from a trading standpoint, up to down, you know, you're looking at 20%, down to up, you're looking at 20, you know, pretty much the same, 25%. That's just crazy money. So that's just from a trading standpoint. Obviously, a lot of people think when we're range bound. Let's just zoom out. Get rid of that one. Obviously, when people think of range bound, they obviously think it's a boring time in the market. But obviously, from a trading standpoint, it is like the money is just crazy that you can make from just the consolidation side of things. Consolidation when we're in sideways action, like we are here, you know. Same again with. Oh, God damn it. Same again with over here. You know, we have breakdown, consolidation. Breakdown, starting to build a consolidation area. So again, a lot of people think that's the most boring part in crypto, but it is. You ever do scalp trading or just do swing trading? To be honest, all I do at the moment, and I am definitely looking to properly start using big money, but all I'm doing at the moment is just trying to progress with my technical analysis and having areas marked out on my charts and seeing them get respected, and then I'm essentially trying to do $1 and $5 and $10 trades. With small amount of money to start off with, just so I can get that accuracy up, and if I can get that accuracy to above 85 to 90%, then that's when I'm going to start playing with bigger money. Because the bigger the amount of money that you play with in crypto, with trading especially, you know, 1% gain. It's just, yeah, it's a lot of money that you can make. So. Yeah, for the minute it's all learning at the minute for me, as well as practicing. But these areas, because I've been waiting for these areas for such a long time, I'd say like 3-4 months now, or 5, like, yeah, just anywhere between 3 and 6 months, because I've been looking for these areas for not such a long time. I might have to, I'm not going to do it with crazy money. Maybe 1,000 or a couple thousand, but I'm definitely going to be looking for some longs around these areas, because I've had a lot of interest in these areas for ages. And now that we're here, all I want to see is that sign of strength. You know, as I said from the start, push up, bounce back, boom, then we can go for the next level. And if we start to go above these levels, then that's where the serious money, you know, will start to come in. But when I was making my videos, you know, as I said back then, it's all about patience. That's what I believed from waiting, from riding out the bear market for essentially 2 years. That's why when I was making content videos, all I ever talked about was patience, essentially, because it is so important. And with trading, I've learned that even more. That's just the beautiful thing about it, because I remember before I started learning about trading, I had people saying to me that we were going to go to essentially these levels, and I thought it's just, that would take forever, and you know, in time it happened. So yeah, patience is so key in this market, and especially when you start to understand levels. It's like, for example, some of the most important levels on the way up. We'll do this quickly, because hopefully this will help some people. So on the way up, we have, you know, there's obviously, you know, 41k, 42k, you know, up by 1,000. But there's some levels that actually stand out, which are essentially a lot more respected than any other numbers on the chart. And to my knowledge, essentially these are the levels. These are the levels, okay? So I'm just thinking, do we do it on the weekly or do we do it on the daily? Okay, so the first main one from where we are now is that 39k area. So this one here, essentially, okay? That 39k area is the first important level on the way up, okay? We then have 45k, okay, which is another key area. I think it would be there, 46 area, okay? This is the second most important level. Again, there's a lot of room between those two, and there's levels that we could reject off in the way there, on the way to this level, but on the way up, these are going to be essentially, in my opinion, some of the hardest levels to beat, okay? That crypto guy, thank you, mate. Appreciate that, buddy. It has been a long time. Yeah, so that 45, 46k area, that's almost a confirmation of, you know, bullish market structure, etc., etc. So that will be a good start at least. That will be a brilliant sign. And then after 45k, we have 48,000. Okay, that 48,000 is another important level. Some would say 50k area. I'd say it's a 50k area. So obviously we're going up in twos at the moment, but then eventually there are some jumps like you have seen here. So then after the 50k area is 52. Okay, that's the most another important one, and then all the way up you go to 58. Okay, obviously that just looks like a mess on my chart at the minute, but important levels on the way up, essentially, to break it down: 39k, 45k, 48k, 50k, 52k, 58k. Okay, what happens after we break 58k? Okay, probability wise, there's about anywhere between a 60 and 80% chance that if we go above that level, okay, we break its all-time high. Okay, now personally I like those odds, but that doesn't mean it's 100% guaranteed. But obviously that's a long way to go, and this is the crypto market. People look at stocks, for example, you know, these ones, it just takes crypto does what the stocks do in a day. You know, what stocks will do in like 2 to 10 years. You know, the crypto market will do it in a day to 1 year. That's just how crazy this stuff can be. You have to get wrecked to understand, I feel. Yeah, definitely. You definitely do have to get... the way I think of it is, if you are in the market to get rich quick, which essentially crypto is not get rich quick, but it can make you a lot of money quick if you do it properly, right? But I believe in a sense, and it is obviously... to a lot of people, they may not agree with this, but I essentially think to properly understand what you're investing in, you have to be losing money, or you have to ride out a bear market. Because when you experience a bear market, then you start to understand crypto more, and because you'll be down in money, you'll be wanting to understand why you're down money, and you want to understand more about this, that. So you'll do more research essentially than you essentially would have ever done before, and that's what I did. Just me personally, I just, you know, when I was down in the bear market, I did more research than I ever done before, and thankfully today it has saved my ass. So, yeah. Obviously, for a lot of people, it wasn't a happy ending, and obviously, but you know, that's why I do wish I did come back, because there was. I wish I could, yeah, as I said earlier, I wish I came back, because if I didn't fall into the YouTube trap where I was earning $200 a month, where at that point when I was earning that sort of money, I think with anyone, they would have to go and work their normal job. I should have kept it as a hobby, but as I said earlier, because the stress was so high, I had to go to something else. I had to try work until I at least cashed out my crypto portfolio, because I wasn't ready to cash out yet. But I wish I did do the odd live stream, the odd video, etc. So I could have warned people at least, at least my opinion, because in my Discord, etc., because of how much I was saying about 2022, you know, obviously I helped them at least, but I just wish I could have helped more people, because it's like with Luna, for example. Let's have a quick look at Luna. It's like with Luna, for example, and it is really sad, to be honest. I've heard that there's been over, 30 reported suicides, and it's terrible. This coin was at $100 odd. I mean, it was at $100 odd a few months ago, and now obviously look what's happened to it, and it is really sad to see. Because obviously everybody was promoting it, everybody was talking about it. Yeah, and a lot of but this is crypto. This is why you have got to be careful, and this is why, even if I get back into a rhythm of making videos, etc., you'll never see me talking about these coins that are like ranked 10,000, etc. The only coins that I tend to try and talk about is the bigger coins that I personally believe in and are invested in, as well as coins that I've actually done research on, essentially, because I don't want to get people wrecked. That's my one goal. Well, it shouldn't even be a goal, really, because majority of YouTubers, for example, have got a lot of people wrecked, and that's for me. I want to help. I actually generally want to help people rather than take advantage, which you can see a lot of people have been doing. Because I believe majority of people are in cryptocurrency for essentially the same reasons I got in cryptocurrency, in the hope that they can change their life for the better. I didn't come from a lot. I come from nothing, dead end job, etc. And I started investing in cryptocurrency because I wanted to change my life. And I'm sure that's why majority of people have even got into this market, is because in the hope that they can do something better for their life, and they can do something better for the family, etc. And obviously, when you follow certain people, etc., they're just losing normal everyday folk money for the benefit of themselves, because people get liquidated and they get they get a percentage, because when you sign up to their Bybit, etc., you sign up to their referral links, they get a cut. If you have, let's say you have like 10 to 20,000 people and they're all trading, etc., you know, it adds up to how much you can make. And I think a lot of them do just do this for the sake of it, but yeah, it's criminal at this point. And I hopefully, especially because I've been in this space since 2017, I wouldn't dare do this sort of stuff, because I've seen what can happen, and we saw it with BitConnect, etc., because the YouTubers were paid to promote this scam, and they got paid and they promoted it, and what happened? It went to zero, essentially the same as Luna, and the crypto YouTubers that were involved got sued. And no, they went to prison. They got prosecuted, and it's just like it's no different, in my opinion. It's no different what we're seeing today than what we saw back then. So I just don't understand why. I know his name now. For example, this guy is really good. This guy's really good at exposing people. You know, he's done stuff on BitBoy, for example. BitBoy, this is something, I'm not going to go too deep into this, but this is just why we need people like this in the crypto space, doing stuff like this. I'd highly recommend checking out some of his videos if you haven't. But he did something about BitBoy, essentially, where if you were a company or a crypto company and you wanted to promote yourself, even if you were a scam, essentially, all you had to do was pay BitBoy $40,000. Obviously that is a lot of money, but if you're going to be serious about a scam, you know, BitBoy will openly interview you for $40,000, whether you're promoting a scam, etc. And if he's, you know, got 1.23 million followers, all you need is 10% or 1% of those people to believe in you, believe in your videos, and then boom, you've just sold them a scam. And it's wrong. That's why that's just as an example, at least, anyway. But I don't like it. But yeah, I've been streaming for almost an hour now, so we're going to eventually wrap up the stream. I just wanted to give you guys an idea of what's going on. Basically, I wanted to give you guys of what's going on in the market. You know. Is it game over for crypto? Is Bitcoin going to zero? No, it's not. But I just want to get back into the flow of things. I never wanted to quit YouTube, which was never my intention, because I always even said to my friends that I always want to go back to it, because I was building something so good and I had such a good community. But the only reason why I did stop is because the stress got too much. I was earning $200 a month, and I generally had to go out and start working again, at least until I started to think about cashing out my portfolio. But I do generally wish that I started making at least the odd video, even if it was one video a month. I saw, you know, Crazy for Crypto, you know, he hasn't uploaded in ages, but then he just uploaded the odd video every now and then, and that's all I should have done. Even if it was in a bearish sense, it wasn't to scare people, but what I would have done is just warn people and given people my opinion, show people the signs. I wouldn't have been like, oh, it's a bear market, you know. I would have just showed people signs, given my opinion, and etc, etc. And if I could have helped people, then I could have helped people. But you know, that's hopefully why I'm gonna start making regular content, because if I see something that all the crypto YouTubers that I disagree with essentially are saying, and they're getting people wrecked, if I see something, then I'm going to say the opposite. I'm just going to give my opinion from now on, because as I shared on my Twitter, you know, I thought 2022 was going to be a bad year. I said it in my Discord. I said there were so many things pointing towards it, etc. And I've gone over it a little bit in this live stream, where we've gone over the fact that, you know, just a couple of the signs, for example, you know, we've gone over a few of them, and there's still this. I just personally don't think it's over yet. So, you know, from now on, if I think logically from all the things that I learned, for example, I don't care about views. Honestly, I don't. So that's why we're going to start doing this again. We'll start from scratch, because we really don't care anymore. We're in a comfortable position, etc., etc. So we haven't got to stress out anymore. That's basically what I'm getting at. But yeah, if I can do some good at least in this crypto space and help people get to a certain level, because that's what I actually really loved about being in this space. Because when I was doing my videos, the coins that I was talking about, for example, they're very strict coins, and I had people tweeting me saying that I have actually changed their life and stuff, and that was just incredible to actually hear, because all I was doing was just essentially talking about what I loved, which was crypto. And that's why I don't ever want to leave cryptos, because it literally, in a weird way, it is like a child to me. It literally is. When I sold my crypto, honestly, I was so stressed. Honestly, when I sold my crypto, honestly, I was really stressed, because I just found it really hard to let go of it. But that's an important thing, and I'm glad I did. Then obviously, because if I didn't let go of my bags, I would have got wrecked. But it's a learning lesson, if anything, because then not to get married to your bags. Obviously, if you're long term, if you're holding for the next 5-10 years, 20-30 or something like that, these prices are essentially nothing but good buying opportunities. And even if we go down further to the 23k area, or we go down to, God forbid, at least if we go below the 21k area, these are nothing but incredible buying opportunities for the future. And I don't mean to try and sound like an over-the-top permabull, because I'm not a permabull. I try to be as realistic as humanly possible. But what you have generally got to think about when it comes to Bitcoin and crypto, okay? You have to think about what we have today and how does it compare to crypto. And you've got to compare it to when I first started in 2017, where it was pure speculation, okay? Everything was hopeful in 2017. It was all pure speculation, okay? And now, if you look at 4 or 5 years later, 5-6 years later, you look at some of the people that are in crypto, the people that are talking about crypto, countries that are in crypto now, and crypto is becoming more of a valuable asset than some of the biggest stock companies on the planet. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is the sort of things that you have to think about when it comes to cryptocurrency. And obviously there needs to be regulation, and there needs to be more things done with it. But from a bigger perspective, when you think of the financial system that we have today, does it compare to what Bitcoin can offer? I personally think no, because when you can add more and more of something into the world, okay, you're always going to have bad circulation. It's a fraudulent system, okay? When there's an unlimited amount of something, it makes you think, why do we pay taxes? Why do we need to pay taxes, etc.? If they can just print X amount of money with a press of a button, a lot of it doesn't actually make sense. And this is why you have to, a lot of people, for example, I live in the UK, and it's like, a lot of people think like the royal family, for example, are like perfect and innocent, but then it's just like, just do the tiniest bit of research, and it's, it's with everything, governments, etc., countries. You look into, for example, what happened in Rwanda in I can't remember what year it was, 1990s or 1970s. It's governments are not as good as we're taught when we're younger. Essentially, all they do is suppress us. They stop us from achieving what we want to achieve. In some senses, yes, they help us, but when they say that you got, as I said with this article, when they print 40% of all money ever created in 12 months, you have to have there has to be red flags. And then when you have other people saying, no, it's nothing to be worried about, in my opinion, that's deluded. That is just, it is definitely something to be concerned about. And as I always go on about when it comes to comparisons, okay, when you're going on about comparisons, you have to compare it to whatever you are personally interested in, okay. The one that always comes to the top of my head, just because it did have a load of hype around it, is normally Pokemon cards. some of the Pokemon cards are worth $250,000 upwards. Okay, and why? And it's because it's rare, limited edition, blah 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 blah. Okay, what happens if that company printed more of that card? That card instantly goes down in value. What happens if they print another one? Goes down even more. Do you understand what I mean? You cannot do that sort of stuff to this country. And yes, it's to support this, to support that, to support that. I understand that, yes. But at the same time, you cannot add more of something into the world and expect everything to stay bullish, everything to stay normal. You have to see repercussions, and that's another reason why I was so I said it quite a lot in my chat. I was very, very, very open to the idea that 2022 was going to be more bad than it was good. Let's just put it like that, essentially, because there, as I said, with Evergrande, etc., there was a lot of signs pointing towards it. But yeah. But in general, though, if you are still here in this market, I hope obviously you're hanging on, you're doing well, not getting wrecked too much. But again, you have to this is where you look at your portfolio and you start to think to yourself, is this actually a good portfolio? Have you just got loads of meme coins, for example, that you're hoping for a quick 10,000x, for example? Yes, there's the small percentage chance that it could happen, or are you structurally building a solid portfolio, for example, where you're building BTC, you're building Ethereum, ADA, Matic, DOT. These coins are, in my opinion, very, very solid coins. Coins like Bitcoin and Ethereum, they ain't going to go anywhere for a long, long time. But again, you have to start looking at the aspect of, are you building a solid portfolio, or are you building a hopeful portfolio? Especially when you're in a time like this, are you looking to be hopeful, or are you looking to build a solid foundation portfolio? And a good example for me is coins like ADA. Yes, ADA gets a lot of stick for it, and I'm looking to buy ADA. I love ADA. I'm looking to reinvest back into this coin. It's a slow mover, admittedly, but what people forget, if we zoom all the way out to the monthly, people seem to forget, it's been here. It's been here way longer than that. It's been here since before the previous bear market. I'm gonna go do cardio outdoors. Thanks for these videos, man. It's much appreciated. No problem, mate. I appreciate you coming and stopping by. I really do. Thank you for being here for a little bit. It does mean a lot. I hope you have a nice workout, my friend. Enjoy the rest of your day. Much love. But yeah, as you can see, Cardano, and this is just on Binance essentially. This is 2018. Goes back further, and it's been through a bear market. Another coin that I remember, without essentially doing any research, another coin that I remember is Vechain. Okay, Vechain is another coin. That's the wrong one, but we'll leave it at that. Vechain essentially is that's Bybit. That's October 2021. Essentially, Vechain is another coin that I remember going through the bear market. Okay, and in my opinion, if you can survive a bear market once and you're still here, still stay with the trend, I personally think the odds/percentages go up and up and up to seeing you succeed as a cryptocurrency. Yes, if you haven't got a solid foundation, etc., you can crash at any point. But in my opinion, if you are generally building a cryptocurrency, and it survives bear markets, it doesn't get wrecked, etc., etc. Yes, Cardano has got wrecked from its all-time high, but again, we can't go back that far, and that's really annoying. But how big's that? That can't be accurate, is it? Let's have a look. Yeah, with Cardano, this isn't totally accurate because it goes back further than that. Yeah, for example, it lost 89% of its value in the previous bear run, in the previous bear market. So it lost a big percentage of its wealth, but it's bounced back, and this is what a lot of people have to realise. Yeah, both ADA and VET did great in 2019/2021. They did. They did. They are both coins that I really, really like, as well as the fact that they survived previous bear markets and To me at least, you know, touch wood, it doesn't look like they're going to go anywhere again. Yeah, Cardano's been a slow mover, and Cardano's been getting a lot of stick because it's taken so long, because it's not doing progress, they're not fast enough, etc. But what would you rather have? And this is what I think is a brilliant point. Obviously, other people might think, what would you rather they do? Would you rather they take the time, build it slowly, and get it right as well? Obviously, I think they have had a couple mishaps, to be fair, but would they rather get it right, make sure it's secure, or would you rather they rush it out like Luna have, and then the Luna situation happens? You have to make sure these things do take time. And I do think, yeah, ADA is definitely, I love ADA. I know it obviously gets a lot of stick, but it's definitely one of those solid cryptocurrencies. And as you can see here, even with ADA, if we quickly go on about ADA, range bound for a minute, but as you can see, we wicked off this daily. Let's have a look at the Fibonacci. This is on Binance. I'm gonna have a quick look at the Fibonacci. Where's the respect here? Where's the bottom? There it is. Okay. So look at that for confluence. Obviously there's a lot of levels here, but we're going to try and... This is the Fibonacci level, linked with the monthly level and a weekly level. So for me at least, from a trading perspective, if we did manage to come up these levels, I would definitely be looking for a short at least, because that's definitely a nice move. Definitely a nice move. It is 12 now. I'm going to wrap up the stream in a minute, but I'm going to go over a couple more things. I'm going to, if anyone's new here, essentially that hasn't been here throughout the stream. Obviously, you can watch it back if you wanted to see what I talked about. But whilst you are here, we will recap it quickly. So, you know, this is Ethereum essentially. Simple, you know, all this is a simple Fibonacci pool. You wouldn't take a trade off this alone. You would look for other levels of confluence, but a simple Fibonacci pool, okay, from the all-time low, which is in March, COVID low, okay, to the all-time high, okay. And as you can see, this area here, this 61866, okay, that is called the golden pocket, and the golden pocket is a very, very respected level if you don't know already, okay. And as you can see here, what you're looking for essentially is this level respected? Does it get bounced on? And as you can see, yes, 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 and again here, okay. And this is why it's a very, very interesting level, because as you're seeing, it's definitely a very, very respected level, because as you can see, we hit this, we wicked below it, but we closed above it, and that's the important part. It's not where you wick. We could wick fit here, for example. It's where it closes. And as you can see, this is on the weekly, you know, on the daily, again, perfect. It's absolutely incredible. As you can see, wick, and we touched there. That's the golden pocket essentially, okay. Now that's Ethereum. You wouldn't go into a trade just off that, but that is definitely something that, because you can see how respected it is, you would definitely keep an eye on something like this. You would definitely add it to your arsenal or your inventory of weapons. Sorry, I do need to clear my throat. This is the same with Bitcoin, okay, and this is why very, 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 very interesting. With some altcoins, it's not the same, but again with Bitcoin, simple Fibonacci pool from the COVID lows of March 2020 to the all-time high. Where are we? Oh, as you can see, look. We've got another Fibonacci pool. Is it respected? As you can see, yes, 100% it is. There. 100% respected. And where are we here? Very, very respected. Okay? We zoom in. Quick zoom in. Get rid of that one quickly. Okay, where's the close? As you can see, we wicked down, which is what got a lot of people very, very fearful. Okay, we wicked down to the 26,000 area, but where did we close on the daily? We closed the daily above the golden pocket. And now, we're trying to go for, since we've hit that golden pocket, we're now trying to test the first major level of resistance, which is the weekly level at 31,700, which this one here. Okay, this level here is the important level, and then that's the COVID lows of the previous, the COVID 2020 lows essentially. Okay, these are the levels that we have to break to essentially go up. They're the important levels. Okay, what do I think Bitcoin's going to do at the moment? As I said from the start, just to recap, I think we're more than likely going to range bound for a little bit. We need to see a correlation with the S&P 500. What's going on with the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones? Oh my God, sorry. What's going on with the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones? As you can see, currently the same as the Bitcoin situation. We're essentially bouncing between two levels. Boom, 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 boom. What are we waiting for? We're waiting for a break, at least to the upside, or we're waiting for a break to the downside, and we continue the economic crisis that is continuing. Okay, or we do a push to the upside, do the break the first key level, which would be the 2020 COVID lows, and we retest it, and then we can go up and look for the next higher levels. Okay, that's what we want to look for. That's what we want to see in a positive aspect. And if we don't, again, range bound, and we break towards the downside, then we'll be looking for levels to bounce off. That's the S&P 500. Okay, that's the S&P 500. This is Bitcoin. It's very, 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 very similar situation. Okay, this is the key level. Essentially, this is very similar to the S&P 500. This is the key level. This is the resistance, the support, and that's the confluence with that Fibonacci that I talked about. Okay, so as you can see here, support again looking really good. But what are we waiting for with the Dow Jones especially? If we show you here again, this is the key level in my opinion, weekly. As you can see at the moment, we're going, we're coming up to it as resistance at the moment. So because we haven't pumped above that level yet, what we can potentially expect to see, we can't expect to see it, but what we could see is again we come down. Because that's what we've done already. We've already gone up for a test of this level and we've come back down, but it depends where this one finishes. What's the next candle going to be? Is it going to be another test up, or is it going to be down from here? This is what we have to keep an eye on, and this is why if you are looking to get into the market at the minute, you have got to consider these sort of things. It's not a good time to jump straight into the market because we could go down lower. As I said, S&P 500, range bound up here, come up here to resistance. Now, potentially, if we don't break this level, we are going to come back down here as support, potentially, unless we fall below that level. Same with Bitcoin. As you can see, range bound, range bound, range bound potentially, until those two pump or those two break down. We'll break the range. This range here essentially is what I've been looking at. Yeah, this range here, 26 KB in the bottom, that key level of the weekly level of 31,700 being in confluence with the top of the range. The midpoint, as you can see, in my opinion, it's a respected midpoint. And yeah, as I said, range bound, waiting to see what happens with the S&P 500, waiting to see what happens with the Dow Jones, and then if one of them starts to make a positive sign, then we can start to look for the upward thing. Okay, I hope that's helped in some way as well. This was important. Simple, that Fibonacci I showed you, simple simple Fibonacci, COVID lows of March to the all-time high. Look where we are. Okay, the higher the time frame the close, the stronger the level. So as you can see here on the daily, close above, close above, close above, close above, and this candle here, this last red candle here, if you can see this one, it's come down as support. Okay, so that obviously has a very, very respected level. Again, higher time frame, the more respected it is. So as you can see here, wick down. Okay, but the close was still above that golden pocket. And now, where are we now? As you can see right here, golden pocket, it's coming back down as support. So this is a very good sign that this level is obviously a very, very respectable level. And as I talked about earlier, you know, cryptocurrencies like DOT, ADA, etc., you know, if Bitcoin can break this level, I mean, look at this, as I spoke about earlier. Yeah, as we've come up to this level and we've rejected off it because Bitcoin came up to the first daily level and we rejected off that essentially. So as you can see, once we break this level and we come do this, basically, once we come up, back test it, okay, look at the amount of room for growth. Okay, there's like 43% before we come to a next major level. You know, same with Polkadot. You know, break above this key weekly level, this key level here, which is the weekly, and I more than likely presume, which would make sense to me, if Bitcoin broke above and held above that 31,700 level, Polkadot would be in the range of breaking this weekly level. And then how much have you got? You've got a 30% move from Polkadot before we see any significant level tests. And because this monthlies are stronger than weeklies and weeklies are stronger than dailies, so you would at least expect on the first pump up, let's just draw like something like this, you'd come up, retest it, you'd at least for the first attempt on a level like this, you would at least expect it to come back down, at least first attempt. And the more you test this level, okay, the more likely you are to eventually break that level and then go down to test another level, okay? So again, if you are looking for an entry and you look at the charts, etc., right, I'm not a financial advisor, so don't do, you know, always talk to a financial advisor first. But basically, if you are looking to trade, you are looking for an entry, even for a long-term perspective, in my opinion, you want to wait to see us reclaim this 31k area first. Reclaim that 31k area and backtest it, backtest that 31k area. Yeah, like this. Boom, boom, come back down, and then we can start to look for the higher and higher levels. Okay, and then that will be at least this level here, the 31k. That will be, if we can reclaim that level, and then we can come back down. That at least will be a good indication that the bottom is in, and that is the bottom, because we would have set new lows, we would have set new previous lows from here, as you can see, back in July 2021 and then January 2021, we set new lows. So now, you know, if we can start to break above these levels, get out of the range, then there could be a new potential bull market on the horizon. But this is why we can't get ahead of ourselves yet. This is why we can't jump the gun, and this is why we can't FOMO into the market just yet, at least anyway, and it's not very sensible to do that anyway. But this is why you can't FOMO in just yet, because you have to be patient and see what we do. Because as I said, if the S&P 500 etc comes up to this level, rejects off it hard, then Bitcoin will follow that price. And if Bitcoin follows that price, Ethereum will follow that price, altcoins will get wrecked, and they'll go down to where they'll go down to essentially the prices when I first started talking about crypto. I mean, let me just, you know, you go on my channel, for example. Let me just show you quickly. You know, we'll quickly go on my channel. You know, we'll look at essentially the first video I ever did about Chainlink, for example. You know, this is why, understandably, this is why some people were fearful in the market. You know, so for 2 years ago, a long time ago, 31st of January 2020, and I'm pretty sure. I can't be asked to skip the ad, but I'm pretty sure Chainlink was around $2.30 something, and yeah, and obviously now when you look at the prices of Chainlink, it's at $7.50. But yeah, I hope this. I'm gonna wrap it up now, guys. Okay, but I hope that this video has given you some this live stream, at least, whatever you want to call it. You know, it's just a chill chat answer some questions, go over the market, hopefully give some people a good idea of what we're looking out for, a few more days or previous weeks, etc. Be patient, respect the market. Don't FOMO in just because it looks like it's a good opportunity. You have to respect the certain levels that come up across, etc., etc. So, what the plan is, I do want to start making more content, etc. For now, I think I might just keep it at the live streams, etc. Because I don't mind connecting with people, etc. And I'm not bothered about chasing views anymore, etc. So, I generally do just want to just be involved in the crypto market and be involved in the crypto space, because I love it. I honestly, I eat, sleep, dream, etc. I just think about crypto all the time. It's literally my favorite thing, and I just want to, if it's going to be essentially my market, not as in that case, but it's a market for me, then I at least want to do some good for this market with some people, if that's even a possibility, which hopefully, even with this live stream, I've helped give people a good idea of what to look out for, etc., why it's in the situation it is, etc. And yeah, hopefully I can continue to do that. I can keep you guys alert if something big pops up, etc. But in general, if you do want to ask me questions, etc., feel free to do that at any time. Whether you want to drop me a DM on Twitter at CryptoNobes, or Instagram, or email, feel free to ask me a question at any time. I'm always happy to help people in whatever way I can, because this crypto market is not an easy market, and I just wish that I had. Things are different now, admittedly, there's groups and stuff, but I just wish when I got into the crypto market there was essentially people that could help me. But at the same time, I'm glad that I did do it on my own, because would I be where I am today without that personal research? I don't know. Right, guys, I appreciate all of you that have stopped by. I appreciate every single one of you that have stayed and watched this. I appreciate every single one of you that have even taken the time to click on a video, considering I haven't uploaded in 9 months. I really do appreciate it. I hope you understand my reasons why I haven't uploaded. I do generally wish that I was still putting up the old video, but my stress, my mental health, and I was earning $200 a month from YouTube whilst I didn't have a job, so this was full-time YouTube, and I had to go back to working until I started to sell my cryptocurrency. And I do regret not uploading, because if I could have helped people, then I would have been happy. That's all I want to do. But yeah, thank you again, guys. If every single one of you that have jumped in. Footdonk, I appreciate you donating to me, mate. I really do appreciate that. It really does mean a lot. You don't have to do that, by the way, mate. Just in general, I hand on heart, honestly, I know the super button's there and everything, but if anyone watching this, I would, at a time like this, especially with the crypto market, the way the economy is and stuff like that, I would much prefer you keep your money for yourself, because no matter how well you're doing, I just feel like an economic crisis, you should keep that for yourself. But nonetheless, I'm forever grateful for the donations, etc. It really does mean a lot. But guys, I really do appreciate you all stopping by. Thank you for taking your time to watch this, and yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Alright, hope you like my fun. See you in a bit, guys.